All right, everybody, this is going to be a really cool podcast today. Today, by the way, all of our podcasts can be seen on the Glass Guys YouTube channel. And the name of the podcast is Trade Talks Blue Collar Business. But today we have phenomenal guest from Rise Architectural Design Group. We have John and Alexander, the co-owners. Fairly new business, about a year and a half old. So we're going to just go ahead and dive into this. So we hope you enjoy. So what's up, boys? John and Alexander.
What's going on, Keith? How are you?
Great. I'm super excited that you guys are here. I first saw you guys on Instagram. So I want to just dive in. First, what is your business? Give us the kind of elevator pitch, if you will, and how long you've been around.
All right, so I started Rise back in 2017.
Yep.
Started out as Bismarck Land Care. Everyone thought I was a maintenance company from Bismarck, North Dakota. So I was like, that's a terrible name. I have to definitely change and reevaluate, the angle I'm coming from. So I changed the name to Rise Land Care. And then, just did the maintenance thing like a lot of the guys start out in the industry.
What is that? Unpack that.
Yeah, just cutting grass, trimming palms, fertilizing.
Mow, blow, and go.
Blow, and go.
Mow, blow, and go.
And I did try because I've always been passionate about plants, and so I did try to go that extra step, the extra mile. So I wasn't just the guy that cuts grass. We did little enhancements here and there. Some rock work, pavers. We didn't do anything too crazy, but we were still doing some of the extra stuff too. And I started kind of getting into more construction jobs, and those were kind of coming on board.
And what do you mean by that? Someone's building a spec house or a builder's building a home for a client, and they're like, we need landscaping.
Correct.
And they would sub...
Or just a homeowner looking to kind of spruce up, hey, I want to redo my whole front. What can you do? Kind of put a plan together for them. So the construction was really starting to take off, like in terms of the new builds. Started to get a little overwhelmed. And I was like, I need help. And power of Instagram. I've been following this guy for a while.
No shit.
Yeah, seeing all the crazy stuff he was doing at the time, which I think at the time he was on the new wine venue at Bayshore, the Maddox, which was like a massive landscape venture. And so I was like, this guy's doing some crazy stuff. And him and I kind of got back and forth on Instagram. We met up for lunch. We kind of started talking. I was like, this guy is a young dude that also is in this industry, which in our industry, I feel like everyone for the most part's not our age, especially in this area.
Or nationality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
you guys are standing out for sure.
We stand out
that.
big time.
Yeah.
People look at us like, you guys do landscaping?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and like people say the power of social media.
Yes.
Like John said, me and John were following each other for a while. I was watching John's progression in the industry as he was watching mine. So we kind of had a vision together that we wanted to do big things. That was instilled at me at a young age to be able to do huge things, scale out things to a different level. So that was kind of our whole view. Like I said, social media, we started having lunches together, started shooting ideas around. And then next thing you know, we were like, we need to partner up.
I found out about you guys through social media.
Sure.
You found out about each other through social media.
Sure.
So anybody who's watching this that still has reservations of saying, I'm kind of not into this social media thing, like you're missing out. There's so many opportunities that have come through social.
To further plug that as well, give a shout out to Viva Mariah. Viva Landscapes.
We love Mariah.
That was
awesome.
like when I was starting out, I got her plans from a family friend who she's a landscape architect. She had her plans, and the family friend reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, I have these plans. Can you build this for me?" So I'd seen her work. I didn't know her. I'd seen her work on Instagram, and so I had her plan, and I took a video of the job going with her plans, tagged her, and within like 5 minutes, she's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a landscaper in town." And I mean, we've done tons of work with her ever since then.
That's awesome.
And then she's introduced us to other clients. So it's like this kind of tiered effect. So, I mean...
reciprocity.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. Yeah. Come on, what's the story? You got a cliffhanger here.
I just really needed help, and I was just like praying about it a lot. I was like, God, I need help on this. Like, please, like a Hail Mary. And so I just posted I guess semi-seriously, I posted on Instagram. I was like looking for like project manager, hit me up if interested.
Kind of dipping your toe.
Correct, just to kind of like feel it out. And this guy... freaking he messaged me back and he's like, 100K, I'm there. I was like, 100K, I'm there. Is this guy serious? And this is a guy, like, I'm like, this guy's doing like crazy stuff. And I was like, and then I just like messaged him back. I was like, okay, like, what about a partnership? And he's like, let's get lunch.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right, let's do it.
That all started off of
All Instagram.
half-hearted. I mean, there is some inner voice speaks outer voice, but
Yeah.
like you said, you weren't 100% committed, so you threw that out there.
Yeah.
And that's how this ended up really
Yeah.
getting to the next level.
And I think too, it's like everything, like the way everything projected and is meant to be. I think Alex knew I was semi-serious when there was a job that I got. And keep in mind, so when I first started, I was doing this like as a part-time kind of like side thing. It wasn't like full-time.
It was a hustle.
Yeah, it was just like, and I landed, and it was just a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But I landed. It was like a $115,000 landscape job, and it was landscape lighting, it was irrigation, it was new plants, it was synthetic turf. I mean, everything that you could do on outside of a house, we were doing it. And I think, that was kind of like, whoa, this can actually be something. This can actually be sustainable. This is something I can do full time, and I love doing this. And on the flip side, I think Alex is like, dang, this guy's actually like semi-legit.
Yeah, I think I messaged you. We always joked around a lot on social media, sending messages. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this looks amazing. And it was a masterpiece. And John always did good work and always did great stuff. But this really, like, that opened my eyes to John's capabilities within the industry. And really, I kind of set the fire in me before that little post he put where it's like, man, I think he's like one of the dream team members where we can just really do something amazing together on a different level. So
now you guys are full-time partners. And how did you come up with the name Rise, by the way? I
So,
like it. I like the logo. It's just kind of positive.
So there's like a Christian song that I really like. It's "Oh God, Beyond All Praising," and it's like, "And whether our tomorrows be filled with good or ill, we'll triumph through our sorrow and rise to bless you still." So like it was just kind of like that rise, and I just really like the imagery too, especially in our industry. So that kind of mixed with, I really liked my old Bismarck logo with the palm. And then my sister-in-law was like, why don't you just throw a sun behind that? And I was like, oh my gosh. Because I didn't want to get rid of the palm. I loved that, the feature, the kind of architecture feature of the palm. And so I just threw a sun behind it. And yeah, I mean, I just, new beginnings, rising before the sun. I really liked the imagery, plus with the song. And then that's something I told Alex. I was like, look, it's like we can change a lot of things with Rise. We can kind of change the name up a little bit. We can do this, do that. It's like, there's only one thing. I said, we're keeping the palm with the sun. I said, and we're keeping Rise. And he's like, well, he goes, I feel like land cares, it's too narrow, because you sound like you're just the guy that cuts grass. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's like, what do you think? And then Alex, I'll let you share what your reasoning was behind the architectural design group.
Yeah, I mean, architectural design group, with kind of John and Compass, is we didn't want to set ourselves to one specific thing with our name. We wanted to set our levels and capabilities just beyond landscape, design, architecture. We do full spectrum design. We want to be able to encompass the whole design spectrum under the sun, pretty much, or be able to build up our company to have that team and the capabilities on a broader level.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love the whole story, how this came about. Yeah. So now let's talk about, you guys are now in business. You're a year and a half into the business together. Mm-hmm. And how are we marketing the business today? Strictly through social media, or is there any paid mediums that you're using? Are you doing TV, radio, newspaper, print ad?
Strictly
all social
media, and then just referrals.
I love that.
Yeah. Referrals. That's pretty much it.
And who would you say would be your ideal, like you do a lot of different work before work. What's your ideal client? What's the ideal client look like to you? Is this a spec house? Is this where a builder's like, listen, we need to dress this up, do your thing, or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of enjoy working with both. I mean, working with landscape architects, luxury construction builders, homeowners. I'm definitely more on the luxury end. I mean, that's something we love, kind of taking pride in doing. Big shit, as Alex likes to say. Yeah. He's like, John, he's like, I don't want to do little stuff. I want to do big shit.
Yeah.
And so, we cover every end of the spectrum. We do spec houses with custom home builders.
Yeah. Shout out to PGI Homes. It's been an amazing builder to work with, and they also work with Mariah, Viva Landscapes, who's awesome, who we mentioned earlier. So they've been it's a great industry to be in right now. And PGI and all these other new builders we're starting to work with have given us some great opportunities and flexibility on design per se.
Let me ask you this, because this is one thing that Jay and I, that I'll introduce you, are done. We've been working together down here now 20 years in this building. And the one thing that we've noticed in our evolution of the business is in the beginning, we were so hungry to jump at any possibility with any builder because we just wanted to showcase what we could do and how hard we were willing to work. And as we kind of got to the other end of the spectrum, what we're realizing is that your time is extremely valuable and it's limited. And so who you partner up with is extremely important because you don't want to just get the next job. You want all the jobs. And the only way for that to possibly happen is there's good synergy. For instance, I call you up right away and I start talking about price right out of the gate. That's usually a red flag for a short-term relationship because you start cutting corners. Your design's not coming in. You start half-assing it because you're not as passionate about it because they're not as passionate about it. And it's a downward spiral. Have you found yourself, in a job that you wish you didn't take? Or are you aware of those things yet? Because the business is still fairly new. So we need money to operate, right?
I think there's a couple answers within that, in those questions. But I think within our company, we have the capabilities to cover all dynamics of clients' needs, which is amazing. So if we have a homeowner that needs, $3,000 or $5,000 worth of work, we have the team to get that done.
Oh.
If we have a client that needs a $10, $15, $20 million job, we have the team to get that done. So we have all the spectrums and capabilities and teams, architects, engineers within our spectrum to be able to fulfill all those needs, which is amazing. So we like I said, we've been very blessed in our industry. The past year and a half has been crazy. A lot of amazing jobs, which I'm sure we'll talk about here shortly, but it's amazing. So like I said, we don't want to set ourselves, we market ourselves as a luxury design build company, but we're willing to encompass, all the demographics within our industry for sure.
Great answer, by the way. Let's get into one of these jobs. One of the posts on your account that I really love is where you had a client that I would say they would mimic me, kind of thinks outside the box. They had a favorite movie, and there was a scene within the movie that they wanted to replicate at their home with the palm trees.
Oh, yeah.
Can you kind of unpack that story for us?
Oh man, I'm blanking on the name of that movie. It's a big world or something.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big world.
And it looks like an M or a W.
Yeah,
out
W.
Of it.
Yeah, so I guess I've never seen the movie, but the homeowner was like dead set on it. He had this vision in his head. He's like, this is what I want. This is my family's favorite movie. Me and my kids, we watch this all, like, this is like a regular thing for them. It's like, they love this movie. And I guess in the movie, the treasure that they're looking for is marked with the W, which is like the palms. And he's like, I need to recreate this, like, behind my pool. And he's like, can we do coconuts? And I was like, well, let's see. For whatever reason, the HOA he is in, they don't allow coconuts, which I think is ridiculous. And sometimes I get a little snickety with people, especially with HOAs and like people that think they're like bigger than they are. I was like, you understand that every high-end community in Naples allows coconuts, except for your community in this little like.
Oh, that.
Yeah, like most of the people we work with, like we've never really had a problem with like putting coconuts in. But for whatever reason, they thought they were really important. Like, no, you can't do it. So anyway, we were like, well, let's come up with a different solution. I said we could still get the same effect. So we just use a different variety of palms that the HOA would approve.
What a great, so in the post, it shows the two pictures kind of side by side, but that was really cool.
Yeah, I remember getting the phone call for that because John went to that meeting with the client, and I remember I was driving to another meeting or project, and John calls me up. He's like, hey, we got to plant these palms like a W. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm down, but what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so he's like, no, and then John's in his truck gets his sketch pad out, starts sketching out what he wants, and shoots a picture to me. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
That was
then
cool.
That was cool.
we spec'd everything out, and work with the client on the project, and it came down. It was a banger job,
And he was
super happy.
super happy. I mean, he was like, "This is better than I thought it was going to be." You guys
That's
killed it.
cool.
Yeah.
He was
And it's
stoked.
personalized to them.
Correct.
Often in business, a lot of entrepreneurs don't do a good enough job listening. And when I mean listening, like active, deep listening. So when you're at that meeting and he's like, this movie, like that's his religion. That is not price, not time. He wants that look because it means a lot to him and his family. And so kudos to you for hearing that and accomplishing that. The post was awesome. The post was really cool. Is there any other weird requests that some people have asked you guys as far as landscaping that maybe you've never seen before?
We've had a couple weird requests.
I'm just trying to calm my brain right now.
Right when we partnered up, it was like a week before we were going to partner up during the transition process, I get a call from one of my clients that's transitioning over to Rise. They're like, he calls me up, my client, he's just like, hey, we need, this is for downtown 3rd Street, down in Naples, downtown Neapolitan area. And they're like, hey, we need to put this like 30-foot tall tree in. I'm like, okay, cool. We can put a 30-foot tall tree in. He's like, yeah. He's like, in 2 days. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's for the big party they're having down there. 2 days. We got a 2-day deadline. I'm like, okay. They didn't care about the price or anything. They're like, well, yeah. They're like, just give me an estimate. So I kind of gave an estimated price, and they gave us the okay. Next thing you know, me and John are going down south to flag out a giant tree to get shipped over the next day, and got over there.
So they didn't even have the tree yet. They were just like, we want a tree, we need a tree, and it needs to be done in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's not like a tree that you can just go and get like.
Where did you find something like this?
So we have me and John go on exploration trips all the time. Both.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So me and John, part of our industry, being in 18 years in the industry, travel around different nurseries, different parts of the world, but do see different flora, and what can be done in the landscape. So me and John, when we teamed up, that was my really big emphasis, is being able to go out to see what works, what doesn't work, what can we incorporate in the landscape, what new flora, what new art, what new architectural accents can we bring to the design table in our industry. That's always changing. Design's always changing. There's never a set design. So evolution is the one constant in our industry, and we want to set the tone for that. We really want to come in deep and cover all aspects and immerse ourselves in that. Not only be able to go, some people can just sit on a computer, pull up a product, and go sell that to a client. That's awesome. But we're actually going out to see these products, where they are, where they thrive, new materials, new art. So we travel and put ourselves in front of these things, and we take pride in that, So that's a big thing with design, and love our mentors and architects we follow, is being hands-on. I feel like just as good as social media is and technology and AI, to our industry, there's a lot of hands-on aspects that are drifting away, that are really core values to me and John. So we really take pride in that, and that's a big thing. And clients notice that. They see us, we post all the time when we're on trips, and really take pride in that, And it, like I said, with the evolution and everything always changing, that sets the tone and the pace for us to know, hey, we need to be on our toes, getting out there, going to new places, and trying to encompass everything at a quick rate, so we can produce this and show this to our clients.
That's so smart, especially this early on in the business, to have that type of thinking and mindset. You guys are way ahead of the curve. To be the innovators and leaders within the industry by actually doing those things, that's huge. Let me ask you, I know enough about landscaping to be dangerous, but I would always hire a professional like you guys. When you're traveling to see some of these other things, can you necessarily bring you might see something you like, but that plant or vegetation, flora, can come to Florida and thrive?
Yeah, there's legal ways of doing that. So you got to make sure you have.
I wasn't even thinking legally. I was just thinking, would it be a waste of money to take a plant that you found in West Virginia and bring it down to Port Royal?
No.
Like,
No,
would
we
it
do,
last?
we do our due diligence on things, and we for some designs we do for clients, we'll bring in a tree that's only going to work for a year or two, but the client wants that.
No way.
We'll like I said, we cover those aspects and design. So and that's all covered within the clientele communications and the whole process. Is if a client wants something and it's only going to work for a year or two, we make that happen. We make the change out, the transition, so you don't even notice it. So that's the kind of stuff that we like to do and be in depth with.
That's cool. You mentioned mentors. Who are some of the people that you've looked up to in the industry over the years?
I'd say probably Craig Reynolds. He's has some pretty cool stuff. Matthew Giampetro, both really active on Instagram too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is cool.
I wanna look them up.
They're both really big accounts.
Christian Andrea?
I don't really know him too much. I know Alex, I think, has a good sense of.
Yeah, Christian Andrea is really good. I love his work.
Yeah. I've got to do a couple projects. I don't know a ton of landscape architect design firms because we're loosely dragged into that sometimes when there's a pool feature or glass railing incorporated. But he was one of the ones that reached out to me probably 6-7 years ago. When I went in and met him, like, this is a smart guy. You could just tell when talking to him. He's sharp. He's really sharp. Definitely. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many good landscape architects in this town. Max Gooding is another good one.
Max is the man.
Max is amazing. Kobe Kerwin. There's really cool people that we've got to work for, and I've been mentored by that have really been able to take on so much experience and entails within the industry to keep learning and moving forward.
You can talk about Disney too.
Oh, let's hear that. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so a little past history with me. My dad was one of the main landscape architects with Walt Disney World for almost 40 years.
No way.
Years. So I grew up in Winter Park, up in Orlando. I moved out of there. My dad retired from Disney, and then we moved down here. But prior to that, he was, like I said, one of the main landscape architectural designers. His last major project that when I was younger with was Animal Kingdom, a little park called Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, just a little park.
I got to be able to look up to him growing up and watch that park come to life pretty much on the weekends when I wasn't at school and stuff. So I got to see him, Paul Comstock, Joe Rohde, be able to see those guys in action, which was amazing. It was amazing as a little kid being able to sit in the golf cart and they'd have their little tree flaggers and they'd be walking up these hills just throwing flags. And the next thing you know, you have like 1,000 people behind them with trees and cranes.
That's
putting
unbelievable.
Trees in. So it was amazing to see. And like I said, growing up with my dad in that industry and the parks and the resorts that he dealt, the Grand Floridian, all these amazing things I got to see. As a younger kid being built or renovation projects going on. It was amazing. My dad set the tone when I was a young kid to do things big, and that was the Disney aspect of his career. So if you can't do it, you find a team to build it or make it. So that's the envision that he set in me at a young age, is that you always go big, go big, go big, and then you can always scale back down.
That's cool. I've actually done a couple tours. My brother and I couldn't stand going to Disney after a couple times. And so when we did go, we had the pleasure of doing one of those Segway tours where they took us underground and seeing the whole, another
the tunnel system,
city underground with, overnight they go from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And you want to talk about an operation. I mean, what an operation that is. And it's almost flawless, too. There's no mess. Yeah. It's literally overnight.
Yeah, systems and procedures within Disney are just, they have that everything dialed.
Okay, let's talk about that. Have you guys put systems and procedures in place within your business already?
Yes.
And you're using technology, whether it's for data collection and future advertising that you might be doing and or scheduled services, so on and so forth currently?
Yep.
And are both of you involved in that aspect of the business?
Yes.
So you guys are doing everything right now. You're handling payroll, all the legal stuff.
Correct.
Permits, yeah, everything.
How many people in the office?
One office lady.
One office lady right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yensi. Shout out to Yensi.
Nancy.
Yensi.
Yensi.
It's actually Jensi.
Jensi.
With the Sophia Longoria accent.
Yeah, wow. Jensi. That's cool. So what else is on the docket? What other projects you got going on?
We
So-
just
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna bring out. We just finished one that was phenomenal on 2600 Gordon Drive.
Oh my gosh.
So the good old Billionaires Row, which like everyone got decimated from the hurricane. So semi blank slate. Oh, yeah. And so we've been working a lot with them. And then if you want to tag on to that.
Yeah, so John, I was on another project one day. John gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, we got a call from a property manager down on Gordon Drive." I'm like, "Oh, awesome!" So it was like the next
Mount
day.
up.
Yeah, mount up. So I'm like, "Cool." So the next day we went to go meet with them. Me and John did, and we hit it off. The client, the Mary Lats, which it's the family. The property manager is a great guy named Rick, who we work for now. They were looking for a young family-oriented company to come in and be able to do the design work and stuff. They were getting sick of the big box companies that were kind of being bought out by corporate entities and kind of going that whole route where you got to get, call a 1-800 number, then call another 1-800 number, be connected
just to get like their second tier guy to
Yeah.
come out and manage
Yeah.
your project. Like,
If
we
you're
don't want
lucky.
you.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
And those companies make money, then no problem, but I feel over time that's going to kind of sizzle out, and those kind of companies, they maintain at a certain level, and that's why they have huge
It's low
sales
commodity.
teams.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, we're not looking. Me and John are family oriented company. I have two boys myself, and John and his wife. So it's like we want to be able to at some point have our kids and family involved with the company.
Absolutely.
And stuff. And
Amen to
John's
that.
wife's always helping. John's wife was on the job the other night with us.
That's
at
cool.
12 o'clock at night, getting all our lighting dialed in. So it's amazing.
The business is
Yeah.
your baby.
Yeah.
And, being an entrepreneur, you almost have to be partially crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's these up and downs,
Yeah.
but there's nothing like it.
But 2600, so more on that project. So once we got in with them, it started off as kind of a testing phase with them. So they're like, all right, well, we have these. They already had an existing massive areca palm hedge on the left and right side, and they needed filler gaps installed in between. These are like 30-foot tall arecas that are existing. So me and John quoted out price to them. They loved it. So me and John went on our mission down south to go pick out these monster areca palms. So we spec'd a certain size. We came in like 10 or 15, 20 feet taller than we told them what we were going to get. So they were ecstatic. They're like, oh my God, these guys are not messing around. They brought in the quality stuff. They're on site. So that was phase one. And now we're on phase like 10 with them on that estate house. So it's been amazing, a great blessing. And being able to implement all this amazing new flora to their amazing property is so cool. And that house was on the cover of Architectural Digest in the late 90s. So it's cool to be able to be a part of that kind of legacy now.
I love when you said they were looking for a family business. Anytime I'm asked to give a referral, and I don't like doing that because there's not a lot of upside for giving a referral. There's a lot more downside than there is upside.
Sure.
But I always say, if I have to hire somebody, I would prefer to hire a company where the business is at a point where the owner is still involved in the business because they're so passionate about it. Nobody's going to care like an owner's going to care. And knowing that you guys are still, same with us, showing up to the job site, I think that carries a lot more weight and credibility than, let's call it, these box store, these big conglomerate mow, blow, and go type of landscape firms. Mm-hmm. I think there's more of a peace of mind. There's more of a trust. And they know that you're going to be a hell of a lot more passionate about it because you have to. It's your business.
Right.
And so I think that was smart on their part. You're talking about the richest people in the world down there. And that's how they view it. And I think that's smart. That's how I would go about interviewing contractors or subcontractors, for sure. I love working down that. You know what I've noticed? It just smells different down there. Like every aspect of it is different. It's wild.
It's funny because me and John will go meet down there. I'll be like, all right, we'll meet down at 9 to go review something, and then he'll call me and be like, where are you at? I'm like, dude, I got lost on one of the streets looking at trees or something. And, you know, I'm always stopping down there to look at flowers. The same thing as him, man. Where we're so into our industry and flora and stuff. We're always just like stopping. And downtown, you know, 3rd Street, 5th Avenue area is amazing. You got full blooming tababuia trees right now in bloom that are just like gorgeous.
Is that the yellow ones?
Yeah,
I noticed that on
ones.
50 the other day. So what's the name of that tree?
Yellow tababuia.
Wow, I've never heard
Yeah.
that. It was breathtaking. The sun was setting. I'm like, man, if I had a camera, this would just be a perfect picture.
And they're kind of, it's funny, when they're not in bloom, they're kind of irrelevant and kind of get hidden away because of the trunk texture and stuff. But they're, you know, when they put a show on with their blooms, it's just like that full impact color. It's amazing.
Are you guys, I don't know if you guys are golfers, but the Masters is about to start. You guys know anything or watch anything with the Masters? They're really known for the landscape there. I mean, the place is immaculate.
The azaleas.
Yeah, all the azaleas, and there's like no leaves
I was
anywhere.
actually I didn't tell you this. I was actually this close to going this year.
I heard the Masters has its own hemisphere, so
Probably does.
they're working with a lot over there.
Well, don't they have like the underground?
Yeah.
Don't they have like the crazy underground irrigation there or something?
Aeration.
They can
Aerification.
actually dial up the speed of the greens based on the blowers or everything underneath. They can make them faster, dry them out, softer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's next level there for sure. That's for sure. What is a project in Naples here that is something that everybody's probably seen 100 times but really doesn't understand like how involved it is? I did a post on YouTube the other day about like a lot of the different glass projects that are in town that, you know, we know of, but you might not have really stopped and looked at to see like how cool it actually is. Is there a landscape project that
I would have to
sticks
say
out?
the wine venue. Rebecca's down off of Bayshore. For me, the Bayshore Arts District has been a big place in my heart because I love, you know, that area, being able to contribute to the landscape and regeneration of that area, working with a lot of cool people, Jim Bixler, Amanda Jaron, all those people, the Bayshore Arts District, so a lot of good people there. But the one project, Rebecca's, was really a fun project, but you can't really tell from the outside all
Why?
the work that went into that. We were putting in huge 20 to 30 foot tall sable palms with low overhead power lines. The inside, so it's really cool, the architecture of that building. There's an inside private room, kitchen in the middle area with gardens wrapped around it.
Oh, no shit.
So the teams actually, we had to bring in huge thatch palms in there that were like 30 feet tall. We had like 4 to 5 feet of clearance with machines getting in there. So like I'm on site there, pulling my hair out with the guys because you have there was such a time cramp on that job with, you know, every trade was there. So like we got guys bringing in, you know, all this crazy like Brazilian wood and this and that. And then like our guys are driving, you know, diesel machines right next to it to get huge massive palms in and stuff. So it's wild. But if you go into the courtyard there's like, you know, 30 or 40 palms and trees that look like they were there before the building was there, but they weren't.
That's cool.
So when you go there and walk through the gardens,
Yeah.
David over WLYA Architects was one of the architects on that job. He was really amazing, did a good job on the design, but it was a heck of a project to pull that off. And that, not to only mention, that was right before we got hit by the hurricane. So we got hit by the hurricane a week prior before installing all the large palms. The hurricane came through, knocked all the palms over. We had teams on site, had every single palm. We had the only crane in Naples the second day after the storm because I had one of my clients and contacts at Hunter Merchant Crane we're good friends with, got me the last one that Fort Myers Beach did that ran out from him. So he called me up. He's like, dude, I got a crane coming your way. I'm like, awesome. So we had guys there for like 2 days craning up all the palm trees and trees. Thank God, we only had like maybe 2 or 3 palms that died out in that project because of our team's quick actions, emergency response, and contacts. We are able to get that place back to normal.
You know, I think that's something a lot of customers might overlook is, you know, there's a commodity that we're looking to purchase. They start going after the price, but the unknown is your experience and the context. The context, I think a lot of people do business with Jay and I just by default, because of our amount of time here, we've acquired a ton of contacts. So there's not somebody I can't get a hold of within 1 or 2 phone calls now. And I think that's important when selecting a subcontractor or a tradesman, is not only do they have a resume of being able to handle that job, but do they have the necessary resources to handle any potential problems that could come about? And that's a good example of that. That's really cool. You guys put a lot of time into also doing any social networking I think before we got on there, we talked about like the Chamber of Commerce, the CBIA. Do you guys go to any of those events?
We actually need to get a little bit better at that. I think that's something.
I think it's because I feel like we're like first year and a half with our partnership in business. We're so hands on, especially me. I have 2 boys. We have the businesses. It's like we have a lot on our plate. So I think that's was our key before with getting systems implemented, so we're able to mitigate a lot of things quickly when they pop up.
And I think too, just like building that portfolio and just showing people like what we're capable of, of like doing too. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the next phase, I'd say, is getting more into the, I guess what you say, the networking style type groups.
Getting your name out there. Yeah. I mean, the social really helps tremendously. I mean, if I look, anybody that checks out your social media page, you can see you've done a lot of work already. But making that personal connection with one, it sometimes only just takes one individual to really open up some really cool doors. But I think it's necessary. Question becomes, which one are you going to do it in? Everybody wants your business. So are you going to the Chamber of Commerce? Do you go to the Home Builders Association?
Which one do you prefer?
Yeah, because I'm kind of in the same world as you guys. We always started at the Home Builders Association because a home builder, especially a good one that respects and sees the value in younger, enthusiastic, ambitious professionals, says, not only do I want these guys on this next project, I want them forever, and I need to scoop them up before someone else does. So I would say the likelihood of that happening is going to be greater at the Home Builders Association, CBIA, versus the Naples Chamber of Commerce. Because although you might have bankers and real estate agents who can give you business, okay, I'm not saying they can't. I just think that the business that I think you're more likely to want is the one in perpetuity, somebody that can have ongoing business.
Sure. And the right business too. I think me and John I think we have really good eyes for the, we kind of say weeding out the bad clients, and it's not necessarily they're bad, but it's like
not a fit for you.
Yeah, it's not fit for, and like I said, there's a million other great, architects, designers, people out there and stuff, but we want to work with people. We're able to have the creative freedom and then the collaboration with them, with the client, and you want to be able to vibe with them and be able to create the environment they're looking for, and I feel like it's hard. A lot of people are now, even with the 3D designs, you can put a 3D design on a computer and put it in front of someone's face, but do you have the story behind it, the product details, the whole shebang behind it, the whole magic? So it's like, I feel like that's the way we look at it.
I think Alexander's got to do some of the voiceover stuff for you guys too. You got a great voice, man. Wow, especially when you dial it up like that.
Yeah, that was something. That was Hollywood worthy right there.
Yeah, it was like a late night FM DJ. It sounded good.
Maybe he could do your intro.
Yeah. We might have to have you do that when we're done.
No, I think too that we're not looking. We kind of joke around. Let's go like the Home Depot builder special. Like we're not just coming. We don't want jobs where we're just coming in throwing in like 4 different style plans that you could just go to Home Depot and buy. Like we're looking to do something that's unique.
Yeah.
And also like working with like builders that like trust us knowing that we go above and beyond for them to make sure that their project is flawless.
There is plenty of builders out there that have that mindset. I think the game is, are we able as subcontractors to wean out the which ones that don't see like that, and the ones that do, can we really dial it up and make sure that relationship stays strong in the beginning, and that way it goes in perpetuity.
And I think a key emphasis is, within your relationships is, set it, what are the expectations, and can you explain to your client or your builder or GC, hey, you know, if you do bare minimum now, you're going to have an impact later on, and there's other issues that are going to be brought up, or, you know, so there's a lot of things that can be, you know, come out of going cheap in the beginning.
Sometimes you have to protect them against themselves.
We've been in situations where the builder did that. Next thing you know, they're getting a call from the realtor saying, "Why does the landscape look like crap? I can't sell the house." And then next thing you know, me and John are back there redoing the design.
That's
and
the
landscape.
problem. I tell people all the time, don't cut your price, don't compromise, because what ends up happening is when that realtor calls, they might say, "Who did your landscaping?" And they give your name and they're like, "Good, because I ain't ever using them. That looked like shit." Like, you don't want your name attached to that ever.
Yeah, and we're not perfect. We've had our thing, you know, our issues and stuff. We're not saying we're perfect by all means, but yeah, you got.
But you stand behind it.
Yeah, we stand behind what we do, and we fix. You know, if anything happens, we're on site or do it, which is, you know, rare to minimum. But you know, we take pride in that. If a issue pops up, we mitigate it, and handle it quickly.
Tell me about, you got a website?
Yeah, we got a website.
How do people find you on the website? If somebody is watching this said, "Geez, we're building a new property or a development, and we'd like to hire you guys," where do they find you?
riseadg.com.
Yep. And social media platforms?
rise_adg.
Yep.
Instagram?
On Instagram, Facebook.
No LinkedIn?
Oh, I have my personal.
Well, let's
I have my LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
It was actually really funny. We met with this lady. This lady yesterday.
I just been designing though. I can't complain.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's too with the partnership is like we both are very involved, but then we both have our own strengths. We're like Alex is definitely way more into the design aspect and the design implementation, bringing in, you know, funky new flora. Or for, I think myself, I'm a little bit more on the operation side, which encompasses that's kind of our strengths.
That's great, because if both of you are on one, who the hell is doing the other
Correct.
stuff?
But then we kind of cross over when it comes to
because John, like when we're doing, John will be freaking out on a job and we're putting in, like, you know, 50-foot tall palm trees or something. And John's like, I'm like, well, we're gonna get it done.
Yeah, I'm like, you take care of this.
Palm trees in.
I'll go pull the next permit.
And we're gonna go to the next project. You know, it's like.
But then, like, at the same time, it's like when it comes to lighting, Alex is like, I know what I want, but I don't know how to do it.
Yep.
And I was
Kudos to you guys.
I know how to do it.
That's
so
good.
Just tell me what you want, and I'm like, we can make it happen.
And for me, like, I don't waste my time on things that don't necessarily encompass my time in the right way. So if, like, I'll do the designs and stuff, but like for lighting, I love doing the design, implementing lighting process, but am I going to be in the field, like, understanding how they're connecting the wires? No, that's not, I don't want to do that.
Or like the latest new lights.
John's here. John will put the lighting plans together. And like I said, we work together on this, but John's in depth on that end, which I love.
I also like hanging out at Link Lighting. Alex is like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm hanging out with my boy Steven at Link.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a landscape lighting supplier here in town.
Okay.
Yeah. So
where?
Off
right behind Naples Airport.
Yeah, right near the airport.
Yeah.
So Steven there's great. Yeah. They carry pretty much all the high end landscape lighting, and he stays very on the cutting edge of kind of new products and stuff. Yeah. So I'll just like go in there and just like, so what do we got? Like what's kind of the new things that we have?
Big shout out. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it's cool. He's got a cool thing going.
Yeah, I think that's too, like the lighting, that's, you know, adding that extra element to the landscape, you know, and with the lighting, there's so much cool lighting systems that are going to be coming up in the next couple of years, and just like lighting you've never seen in different ways, which is going to be really cool.
That's
so
neat.
We're excited to kind of start taking that route that way.
So. I think too, like with lighting and with landscape, and kind of on that topic of cutting corners, like both with homeowners and contractors, is I think sometimes they forget how much of an impact landscaping and also landscape lighting has on the value of a home. I mean, I forgot what the study was. There was, I think it might have been Forbes or someone did a study where they looked at the value add, and it's somewhere near like 20% value add.
Because of curb appeal. For
curb appeal, for landscaping and landscape. So if you're talking a $2 million house, what is that? That's like another $400,000 that you're missing out on because you wanted to spend $75,000 instead of $150,000 on landscaping. You know what I mean? So it's like, a lot of times they don't have that forethought of, you know what, we're going to spend that extra $50,000, but we're going to make it back because we're going to be able to sell it for $300,000. And
it's imperative they use a professional not only to get the look they want, but the look that's going to withstand time too.
Correct.
It's not going
timeless.
It's going to be timeless. Oh, that's smart. Let's wrap up on this. If there was in your tenure of being business owners, and both of you can answer this, is there a piece of advice that you would give to any aspiring entrepreneurs that are, graduating this year that aren't going to go to college and want to start their own business? What are some things that you think they should be aware of?
Just being afraid not to fail. There's so many sleepless nights trying to figure stuff out, but having the faith and knowledge that knowing it's going to work out, because sometimes, when you're out on your own, me and John are the ones that are making sure that, hey, we need projects coming in, we need doing that. So, that's a lot on our plate, and being able to understand that, hey, that's a lot. There's so much work into that. There's so many sleepless nights. There's so much time in between things. Social media is, of the good and the evils of social media. Social media puts everything so quick in front of your face when it's like there's a whole process. I've been in the industry 18 years. I'm just now to the point where owning, being part of owner of a landscape architectural firm, so it's like it takes
Be
time.
patient.
It takes time,
Yeah.
It takes time.
And I love that. When you say be patient, that doesn't mean don't be ambitious. Just be patient on your expectations. Right. And not being afraid to fail is a very good piece of advice, because you are not going to get to the high level that you want to get without making mistakes. So by definition, failing is actually good in the beginning. Just you can't be bogged down by it.
And I have to say, like, having a John as a partner and having the correct business partner is such a huge aspect. And with me and John's offsets of each other, we collaborate so well. So when we have stressful situations or undergoing a lot of stress, we have each other to lean on, and that stress is kind of leveled out a little more, so it's not piled up on one person per se. So it's leveled out, and it makes things a lot easier. So as stressful it is, and people can look on the outside and say, "Oh my God, it's crazy. How do you do this?" It's good being able to have that person to talk to. Like me and John are on the phone every day, all day long. If we're not on the job together, or in between projects, we're calling each other. We're in the studio at our office. It's working. So it's that communication which alleviates the stress, because a lot of stress is brought on by ourselves.
100%.
Because for me, I'm 100% guilty. I'll be up at we'll get like the lighting job the other night. We didn't get home till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I felt like I didn't do enough that day. It's like, oh my God, I got to go to bed. I have to wake up at like 5, so it's that, it's that good. It's a good and bad with that mindset, but it's like, you got to be able to, keep it moving.
Being an entrepreneur is a lonely place to be. So having someone else to lean on is important. Thank God I have 2 partners, myself, my brother and father. Because there would have been times where I would have thrown in the towel several times if I had been by myself. Sure. Not a question of doubt about it. So that's cool. And I hope that you guys continue to have a ton of success. We will be following you. So did you want to add anything? Advice?
I guess I just adding on to that, it's never quit. Because kind of on the topic of failure, like you don't truly fail until you quit.
Correct. That's 100%
there's like
true.
Good old Donald Trump, I think, meme. Not to get political, but
I
like the
it.
business end. We send that meme to each other all the time, where he's like, he has that thing. He's like, never quit,
never
quit, because you don't fail until you actually quit.
I love it.
So you just keep pushing forward. There's always going to be something that pops, or everything always works out in the end, and it really it builds character and it builds scars.
Surrounding yourself with good teams. That's one good advice I can tell to people or younger guys in the industry. Surround yourself with good teams
and treat people well. I mean, you and treat people the way that you want to be treated, especially your employees. I mean, you have a lot of guys in town, they don't pay them well, or this or that. But for us, it's like you always want to pay your employees as much as you possibly can.
100. Your employees are the number one important thing in the business.
Correct.
They say customer is most important. Your employees are most important. The customer, of course, is important. Everybody's going to know that. But if you don't take care of your employees, they're not going to be able to take care of the customer. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's some sound advice. So anything else that you want to give shout outs to? You guys rattled off. I'm impressed. You gave a lot of shout out to some trade partners in the industry. Any
shout outs?
Any charities that you guys donate to or will be or are a part of that you'd like to speak about?
Ave Maria
University.
Ooh.
That was my alma mater.
Yeah. Oh.
So we actually did a really cool, it was like a tiered landscape wall, canal wall.
Where was it? What part of the property was it on?
It was on their, like, they have this
Near the church?
No, it's like the canal near like the student union.
Okay.
It's like a tier down, and they have like all this. The cafeteria looks out on the canal, and so we landscaped all like this. Like,
And how did you get that project?
So I'm an alumni there, and they were like, "Hey, we have a donor that wants to do this," and they're like, "Can you guys do it?" I'm like, Alex thinks we might have something, so we just went out, looked at it, and
That's great.
kind of one thing led to another.
I love that. Ave Maria is a beautiful, beautiful property. I don't think a lot of people that don't know that should definitely go out there and check it out. It's spectacular. You know, one thing I've noticed, not only out there, but mostly around in Naples too, people take a lot of pride in this area, and it's easy to tell that because you don't see much litter. You know, you guys have traveled around looking for. I travel quite a bit, and one thing that sticks out to me about this area in particular versus pretty much a lot of other places in the country is the lack of litter, and I think that just goes to community pride and how people really take a lot of pride in the way things look and the landscaping around here. It's breathtaking.
And I think the city does a good job too.
A really good job.
I remember seeing this meme. It was a shout out to our boy Jason Zulo. He posted.
Say Jason Zulo.
He's a Zulo land development. He does like demolition and site prep, but he posts this meme. So he's from. Shoot, he's gonna kill me for not knowing this. I think, is it New York or New Jersey?
Same thing.
New York.
Same
It's
thing.
same thing,
It's
right?
New
Oh,
York.
he's gonna be more
New
mad.
Jersey.
I think it's
Yeah.
New York. So he was a big time hardscaper, landscape designer up there. He came down here like a lot of people during COVID.
Yep.
Moved down here, and he posted something. And it was this meme. He's like, it's a picture of landscape guys pulling weeds out of a median, and it was like that side by side with, I think it was the New Jersey like municipal guys mowing over garbage.
Oh,
and
no.
he's like, the difference between Florida and New Jersey is
That's
like in
hilarious.
New Jersey they just mow their litter. In Florida, they actually like hand pick weeds like out of like the landscape beds.
It's true. You go
And
down
it's true.
41.
It's immaculate.
It looks like you're inside Disney. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
No, my dad, even comparatively to like Lee County. I mean, the Collier County just takes things, and my dad sometimes, you Collier County people, like,
Yeah,
because
well,
like you go down 41, it definitely, you know, when you hit Lee County,
It feels
because the
different.
medians,
Yeah.
they're totally different.
I took the kids up to Disney the other weekend when they were on spring break, and it was horrible up there. It's disgusting. Disney. We went to the flower festival up there, but yeah, it was just like, it's so disgusting. I'm like, you know what? It's like the love-hate relationship with Naples sometimes, but then when you go away and you come back,
quickly
you're like,
want to come
dang.
back.
Yeah,
You're
you're
like,
like,
man,
whoa.
it's super,
And it's not
super
talked
clean.
about. You don't talk about it. We just kind of take it for granted. But it is like, drive from here to Fifth Avenue. Try and find some litter on. It doesn't happen.
Well, and it's outside of like Naples City. I mean, if you go just on the Mockley Road, like towards like where we're at, like Golden Gate Estates.
Yeah.
Same thing. Those medians are perfect.
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 I love it. I love it here. I tell everybody that's up north, I said, being in Florida, it's like every day is like Saturday down here. It's just perfect. Working outside here, the sun, the environment's clean. There's a lot of money, a lot of opportunity. It's just perfect.
But it's funny too. Then you go you go in like the middle of the state, away from the cities that are managed by the government, into like the old country areas. It's like it's peaceful and trash free in those areas.
That's cool.
It's funny.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Howie in the Hills.
Florida's
Have you ever been
great
there
place.
before?
No.
Howie in the Hills.
No.
It's a cool area. You should check it out.
Where's it? What's it near?
It's probably like an hour away, kind of from like the
Okeechobee?
No, it's like an hour away from like Disney, but it's like an opposite way.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like hilly where it's at. It's
No
really pretty.
shit.
And there's like old school Florida resorts there.
Oh, cool.
Like from back in the day. It's cool. Historic. I'm into the historic exploration kind of areas, which is fun.
I'm like, so what's the name of it again?
Howie in the Hills.
All right, I'm gonna check it
It's
out.
a city, and that's what it's called. Howie in the Hills.
I like
Look
it.
it up.
Sounds
There's a lot
like-
of cool nurseries up there too. That's where we get stuff from. So.
Right on. If anybody's looking to get any landscape architecture design, God, man, that could be a tongue twister.
Architectural design.
Okay.
We tell people we cover everything outside of the home for the most part.
Yeah.
Literally. All right, so check it out.
So,
And
like-
this podcast will be shown on the Glass Guys YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that alert button. We appreciate it.
Awesome.